Today we are exploring the dangers of driving in Texas. Just like New York and the swim team with squeeze bins, where is 981 and license, Texas also has its own swim team called Night Swim. Night Swim is known for driving at high speeds, cutting in and out of traffic, and also running from cops. Although I don't condone any of the activities that they do or anything seen in this video, I am here to uncover the behind the scenes of why they drive the way they do. Shout out to Tommy G for inspiring this video. Stay to the end because we have special guests and even crazier stuff coming. Now buckle up because it's going to be a wild ride. No pun intended. Before meeting up with Night Swim, I wanted to talk to some locals about the driving situation here in Dallas, as it is already dangerous. Texas is known for speed, modified cars, drag racing, having ridiculous speed limits, and also having one of the most confusing interstates, the High Five. We've all experienced here someone flying by us at upwards of 100 miles an hour, and if you're experiencing that for the first time, it can be very scary.
Who has better drivers? According to a new report from Forbes, Fort Worth comes in at 15th on this list among cities where you're most likely to get into a crash. But Dallas tied for first place.
What's up, my fellow BBC members? As y'all can see, I bought a new car. I'm lying, this is a piece of shit. Welcome back to another video, and today's gonna be a little bit different, as y'all can see by the thumbnail and title. But today we are going to be having a lot of fun during this video. Realistically, I'm going to be highlighting driving in Texas. Y'all know how Tommy G did the video with squeeze bins in New York with the squeeze team. Well, we also have a squeeze team down here in Dallas called Night Swim, and I'm going to be covering what they do, how they drive. We're gonna be in the car with them a bit. But for starters of this video, I wanna talk to the locals in the area of Dallas and just ask them what they think about the drivers and stuff, because if y'all live in Dallas, or if y'all know how driving in Texas is in general, for one, we got a bunch of bridges that are stacked on top of each other, people driving 20, 30, 40, 50 miles over the speed limit, a lot of traffic, people cutting in and out of traffic, Kia Souls running over people and stuff. I want to talk to the locals and discuss what they think about the driving experience here in Dallas. How long have you lived in Dallas?
My whole life.
Do you think that it's dangerous to drive in Dallas based off of how the roads are, the speed limits, and just people just driving recklessly?
Recently, it's got much worse in the last 2 or 3 years. Don't be influenced by your friends and having multiple people in your car. It's very distracting. People are just careless these days. I don't think they just think they're gonna get hit or get a claim. Not everybody walks away and gets a claim. Many people have died. And I've seen an increase in accidents in the last year or two, especially, but they're not just mild accidents. And I've watched cars flip right over in front of me.
Do you think that the speed limits here in Texas have a lot to do with people driving at high speeds or recklessly, because we do have speed limits that can get up to 85 miles per hour on the highway?
I think the highways and tollways are definitely dangerous and always been prone to drunk driving and that issue, but there's been an increase in inner city here at just these regular lights when you're going to a store or a restaurant or a mall. So I don't think it's that. As much as I hate the red light cameras, I think removing them was a huge mistake. I think the speed is something to look at, but I really think it's police presence. I also think 16 is way too young for kids to have a license in today's age. With the cell phones, the technology, I think everybody should do defensive driving. Defensive driving helped me a lot, even though I thought it was annoying.
Because people also post on social media of them driving recklessly, like
that stuff, that's a whole nother beast we got to tackle. Like whoever owns YouTube and allows this stuff to be uploaded and monetized, they need to be held accountable. We don't even allow YouTube at my house.
Stuff like that on online, it can definitely influence the youth.
But why is that allowed?
Right.
You know what I mean? They own that. They make big money. It's monetized. Kids should not have access to that. That's all got to be shut down. As long as we give these people a platform to show off and monetize bad behavior, it's going to incentivize them to do that kind of stuff. Back to the defensive driving thing, it's just like sports, right? If I'm on basketball, hockey, soccer, and I'm on offense and I want to score, my mentality is get the ball in the net, right? Nobody stops me. Well, if you drive with that mentality, like ADD people or these kids who are all charged and wired up, and you add energy drinks and the content and they're up all night, you get why nobody drives defensively. It's because they're on offense. So it is an ego thing, and those videos do tie in. It's like, you know, oh, you cut me off, I'm going to get in front of you, show you I'm faster, and there's a lot of that behavior out here.
How has the driving experience been for you?
How has it been?
Yes.
Stressful.
Have you ever experienced driving on Texas roads and people are just for one at high speeds, just flying past you for absolutely no reason?
On the toll road.
On the toll roads?
At early as 6 o'clock in the morning, as late as 10 o'clock at night.
Do you happen to have any kids?
I do.
Does it ever stress you out at all with them being on the roads?
Yes, my son is a truck driver, so that alone is the stress itself.
Just like people just driving
Oh, yeah.
recklessly and stuff. Have you ever experienced driving and seeing something like that?
Yeah, I drive. My commute is an hour from where I live at now. So I see this constantly, from Ferris to Plano, constantly. Oh, look at that. Yep. Driving in Texas, that they need to not only drive for themselves, but they need to think about the next person. Because 9 times out of 10, most youth, because if they're young, if they're in an accident, they're most likely going to live versus hitting. I'm an elderly person. An elderly person, we may not have those chances. And the fact just speeding alone, there's no reason to speed. You're going to get there regardless. And I say that to young and old because I see older people like, what are you driving at 80 miles per hour at 6 o'clock in the morning? Where are you going? Wherever it's not that important to get there by speed. Sad to say that when my kids were younger, they had, quote unquote, the need for speed. So, you got a lot of kids that play video games that when they come of age, they want to drive like on the video games. My daughter grew up. She had classmates pass away from speeding, and so she dealt with that. So by the grace of God, I thank God that my child never had like a speeding issue, and she drives a Charger, and she does not have a speeding issue because she's been taught and she's seen that speeding that's not what that is.
As we are heading to meet with Nice One, let's discuss the dangers of reckless driving. Some may say it's not as dangerous as drunk driving, but I believe that it is worse. When someone is drunk driving, they aren't fully aware of what is going on and don't have much control. But for someone who is sober, driving recklessly, they are fully aware and choose to put others in danger. And reckless driving is the #1 cause for death on the road. Not too long ago, Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice was caught driving recklessly and crashed. Just because you're rich, it doesn't make you invincible. If you're caught reckless driving, it is a fine and up to 30 days in jail. Let's all just slow down, be safe, and think of others.
Blue hunters, they stay on my mind. My niggas, they punch and hit me up if you got a time. But one chase a bad, not a bitch. Just watch your back, and these niggas like Glock still sweet. It's the curly, that hoe in the ditch. She my favorite munch. I love the way she eat all the D. Number 2, never ask with your hands out. Just gotta bang me and flow, hit the boss, pull the bands out. Holla, dude, they put your man down.
Alright, y'all, so some way, somehow, we ended up in the car with them. Hopefully everything goes smooth. I think we'll be good. I put my trust in him. I have your trust. Okay, alright. Fuck. Alright, so we done entered into the, oh shit. So we done entered onto the highway now. Jesus Christ. We're currently in a M5, one of the fastest cars that BMW's produced. So what is it that you have done to the car?
Basically, it's just the stage 2. They basically two catalyst downpipes. The exhaust is really not too crazy of a setup. I mean, I'm sure y'all will be able to hear it right now. And I mean, that's like quarter throttle. So I mean, nothing really too crazy. It was only like $1,000 worth of work. It's making about $740. Every single one of us has their car in cash. I honestly don't see a point in really cutting up in a car that you don't own. When you crash your car, you only get so much for your car depending on what it's worth, and then you still owe all this extra money because you financed it through the bank. And I just don't see the point in that, especially with the driving that we're doing.
So how do you feel about the Squeeze team in New York? They mentioned how most of their cars that they cut up in are rentals.
I watch Squeeze team. I love Inbox. I did a collab with him, as you know. I don't see anything wrong with cutting up in a rental because what we're doing with these cars is not good for them. I don't necessarily disagree with cutting up in a rental because it makes sense to me. These engines are high performance but also extremely high maintenance.
So we've been driving for a little bit and I'm noticing that he does have the wheel a bit, but it still can get a little scary. Yeah, it can get a little sketchy because the biggest thing is that these people on the road, they don't know what your next move is. They don't know. You're the only person that knows like what your next move is. How does it make you feel about like these regular drivers on the road and you're flying by them at high speeds, cutting through them?
actually cutting someone off.
I'm cutting someone off, obviously, but you know, I'm not trying to create any conflict. I expect them to stay where they are, and I hope that's what they do. I would never intentionally crash my car into someone and risk somebody else's life.
Is it like an adrenaline rush for you? Why is it that you drive the way that you do?
I don't think it's necessarily an adrenaline rush for me. I have a job, I work. This is my enjoyment, if you will. I think it's not only satisfying to see, you know, $500,000 or $600,000 cars swerving through traffic together. I don't think I could ever find myself driving a car at 70 miles an hour in the right lane, even if I weren't in an M5, even if I found myself in a lesser car.
But do you think for someone like that may be an inexperienced driver that doesn't necessarily drive like that, but they're late for work, is that anything different from how y'all drive? Is he on the shoulder?
There's a difference between how we're driving and someone late to work is driving. They're driving with emotion, right? I have absolutely zero emotions. This is enjoying to me. You know, I'm enjoying this current moment right now, but I'm not emotionally attached to it, right? I would end this moment in a heartbeat immediately, right? When you're late to work, you know, you're late to work. You have somewhere to be. You have to get there right away. And I don't think there's an issue speeding a little bit on the way to work, but you know, I understand my car a lot more than, you know, a hairstylist who's late to her first appointment understands her Honda Civic, right?
Is there anything that would make you want to stop? Say you was to get a girl, you was to get like a, you know, you have a wife, right? Is that something that would make you want to stop driving the way that you do?
I don't think so, because the difference between my style of cutting up and squeezing is, you know, I don't think that I drive erratically enough to warrant stopping for a family. I think I drive, you know, fast enough.
For the people that don't know, because I know a lot of people know what squeezing is, can you explain to them the difference between squeezing and swimming?
What we're doing right now is swimming. Every single cut that I'm taking, there is a gap for me. Right here, after this cut, I can go right. I could go double right through those cars. No, I couldn't go to the left lane, but I can go right here, and then I can go left, and I have a huge gap right here. Squeezing would be me taking unnecessary cuts that risk my car. Squeezing is just for content. Squeezing only risks your car, and when you're squeezing, you have to not care about your car. Maybe not on video today, just to protect the drivers and stuff like that, but we do communicate while we drive. We have walkie-talkies, we do FaceTime calls and stuff like that. Everyone that you see driving really does enjoy what they're doing.
All right, y'all, so we are in an undisclosed location, and I have with me the owner of Night Swim, the one that we rode in the car with in the previous clips. He's pretty much going to tell y'all what Night Swim is.
About a year ago, we started doing cruises as a group. There was another pretty known group down here called NTX. We started doing cruises with them. It became more of a kind of idle driving thing where they would sit on the highway with their hazards on going 100, and that's what we try to avoid. Night Swim, when we do our cruises, everything is fast paced and there's a set location, so at least 50 to 100 cars on the highway, all cruising to the same location.
Like I said before, he is the owner of Night Swim. Now he is going to introduce y'all to pretty much the rest of what we call Night Swim, or the group that is closest to Night Swim.
This is the nasty one. This is a CTSV 2013. It's a 6.2 with the blower. Right now he's sitting right around 950. Overall, this is an absolutely insane car. Manual, takes some skill to cut up with, but this guy fucking drives it like he's supposed to. Right here we've got NS Felon. This is an M550. This guy actually is our one and only loss to the police. He got pitted off his motorcycle. We love him, but he is our only loss to the police. This right here is NS.MBB F90. This is a 2019 M5 competition, stage 2 on MHD with a stage 1 trans tune from XHP. I would say one of my favorite cars. Right here is Unknown B58. We are in a 2020 stage 2 M340i. He's on E. Obviously these B58s take E so fucking well. Last that we have here is my F90 M5. It's a 2019 team. It's stage 2 right now with MHD. What you see here is some of our good cars, but I mean, we've got a ton of G80s, some McLarens, some Lambos. So, I mean, this is only a small percentage of what we've got. This is ns.lexus. This is my personal manager, the media manager and co-owner for Night Swim. So he's going to explain a little bit about what he does for Night Swim. I handle all media, photo, video, editing. I had Inbox reach out to me wanting us to drive with him like he did with Squeeze Team, Squeeze Ben's license and all them. But when he came out and drove with us, came to 2K with us, we had SRT Lynn hitting us up and the rest of Squeeze Team wanting us to come out and collab with them. We're going to Houston with them soon and we have New York trips in the talks.
So starting Night Swim, what made you necessarily want to start?
I really think just growing up like in the car culture, like growing up, my dad had an older Porsche. I just think seeing all these movies related to driving fast, I always wanted to do that. You know, the track is not always an option. Being able to drive fast with a group of people like a track on the highway is definitely beneficial and fun. Growing up, my dad loved cars, grew up into cars. He had a shit ton of cars growing up, 17 cars to be exact. And I would do the same thing. I remember taking his, he had an A7. When I was 15 years old, I would whip that shit without telling anyone and just go cruising around. And ever since then, I just fell in love with cars and just the car culture, especially here in the Dallas community. It's a very great community out here. It's about being efficient and being safe with it. You know, squeezing all these guys, they go real tight with those squeezes. But you know, we don't do that. It's cutting up, it's swimming, and it's safe and it's efficient.
Would y'all say that driving the way that y'all do is something that's therapeutic for y'all, or is it something that's just fun? Like, how would y'all describe the feeling when y'all are driving?
I would say it's definitely therapeutic. I try not to drive with any emotion at all, but I mean, you can ask a lot of people and they'll say when they get mad or argue with their partner or, you know, something's not going right at work, they'll get in their car and go drive fast on the highway. I do think that driving with emotion can lead to accident and things to happen like that, but it's definitely therapeutic, it's definitely relaxing, and I definitely am fulfilled from driving like that. I think it's fun and I love it, really. I think, you know, when we're driving, you have to be clear-headed, clear-minded. You can't have any ego, and that's one of the biggest things here in the Night Swim community is no one has egos when we're cutting up. If there's a take that's too stressful, then don't take it. You know, take the safer route. You know, you don't want to, you know, have any ego battles over here, so 100% agree with that.
Is this something that you all do every day, or is it something that you just go out on cruises with your boys, or do you drive the way that you drive by yourself?
You know, I can't speak for everyone, but all of the owners or people that are close to the owners of Night Swim definitely drive like that every day. I think it's hard to go from speeding and swimming your way through traffic and not driving like that every day. I couldn't see myself going 70 miles an hour in the right lane ever. Not after work, not in the morning, even going to the gas station. I can speak for most of the guys, and I think we all cut up every time we drive. My only exception is I bug out like crazy when I'm by myself. If I got like, you know, family with me in the car or something like that, you know, I'll take it easy and I'll throw it in sport, maybe even efficient, comfort. It's an M5 at the end of the day. It's a comfort vehicle, so you know that's what we'll do. But if I'm by myself, of course, I'm gonna bug out like crazy. I don't really ever consider cutting up crazy or bugging out hard when I have my girlfriend or anything in the car. But you know, girls like to drive fast. Girls like loud cars. Doing a pull here and there isn't dangerous or bad in any way, I don't think.
Do you have friends outside of Night Swim that know that you drive the way that you do and they don't?
A lot of family members know me and drive the way that I do. A lot of friends also know how I drive. For the most part, it's become like a joke in you know, my friend group and my family. Fun with the homies, and you know, obviously we're in the car, they're gonna tell me, yo bro, let's go crazy for a little bit. So obviously I'll do that if it's just the homies in the car. If I've got my parents in the car, I'm definitely not driving like that. They don't know that I drive, you know, 160, maybe 170, almost hitting 200 miles an hour. They don't know that. Most of my family, for the most part, they'll tell me to stay safe, be careful at the end of the day. And I understand completely because, you know, we could be the best drivers on the planet. It's not our fault if, you know, someone else comes into a lane. It's the NPCs you got to worry about, right? It's the people on the road. They could come into a lane. They could do something that maybe you're not prepared for. We could be the best drivers, but if something happens on the road, you got to be prepared for that. So, you know, they tell me to stay safe when it comes to that and just, you know, keep that stuff in mind. And, you know, and they always tell me like, you know, we love you. So, you know, just don't go too crazy. So
are you both like fully aware of like all the consequences that can come from the way that y'all drive?
I think we all are. And I try to make everyone that decides to cut up with this aware of the risk that you're taking. And I think that ties back into majority of us owning our cars cash. We know it's dangerous, risking your life, but not only risking your life, but, you know, risking $100,000 car. The experience that some of us have driving and the chemistry we have driving, I think it's more of a enjoyable sport, if that makes sense. When you get up to the plate and you're a batter in a baseball game, there's a chance you get hit in the head with a 105-mile-an-hour fastball, but there's also a chance that you hit it out of the park.
It's huge that none of us have egos, right? Like you just said about chemistry. We all got to make sure we're on the same page. We're not racing each other. We have an end destination in mind. You can't have any egos. You can't be super emotional about it. You can't get angry because that is what causes accidents.
The ego cutting is definitely the biggest problem with the swim scene right now. If you look at these New York videos, I mean, people are fighting to get in front of each other. I just could never see myself throwing my $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 car in front of my best friend's $80,000, $90,000, or $100,000 car. And the main difference, I think, between us is not only the chemistry, but I mean, I know all these boys, especially him. I would never, ever want to see him crash. And I think a lot of these people find crashing funny or a joke and try to hide it to keep their clout. Crashing is serious. And, if he got hurt, I would be torn up. I care about his life and he cares about mine. So I think that having chemistry and preventing ego cutting can definitely make or break your team.
All these New York guys, they all drive rentals, right? When you're driving a rental, you have no incentive into the car. So if you crash it, you don't really give a shit. You just move on with your life, right? Like he said, we own these cars cash. This is what we do. These are our cars. Like we daily drive these damn near every single day, so we want to take care of our cars. We maintain them well. We make sure that oil is good, tires are good, brakes are good, everything is good 100% of the time. We're careful. It's a good thing to keep in mind.
So to touch a little bit of basis on what y'all mentioned about the squeeze team up in New York and how they don't really care too much for one, other drivers on the road or the vehicles that they are in. Has anyone within this group here or someone close to the group potentially ever been in an accident or worse, injured, anything like that?
I can definitely say that there has been some close people to the group that have had accidents cutting up. I can confidently say that they were never a part of night swim. I know of 2 different blue Hemi Chargers that had accidents cutting up with other drivers involved as well. So it's definitely not a joke, not a game. It can turn bad for yourself and your family and other people on the road very quickly.
I mean, just because you throw the Night Swim logo up on your car doesn't mean automatically that, okay, you're super tight or anything like that, right? At the end of the day, sometimes, like you mentioned, there's 200 plus people in the group chat. Some people we've never met before. They've been in the group chat, they pop out one time and, something happens, So at least with the core members here of our group, like I said, the chemistry is extremely well balanced. We don't do any ego, anything like that. So, every time, at least speaking for us, cutting up related accidents never happened, not once.
God forbid, obviously, but if something was to happen to someone close to you doing the activity that you do, would that be something that would make you all stop?
I don't think we would ever stop. If we were to ever get into an accident together, considering we both have M5s, I don't even think we would go through insurance. We have a different kind of bond between each other, and I think most of us in the night swim, core group do. So it's a love, it's a love like brotherly love with everyone in the core group, and I don't think we would ever stop cutting up just because of an accident. Accidents happen, and even the best drivers crash.
At the end of the day, if you want to consider it a sport, you don't want to tell the person, like he just said, if I hit him or he hits me, I'm not going to tell him yo, just stop doing this. No, we still have passion for it. We still really enjoy it. So I would never tell him to stop doing it. I wouldn't tell myself to stop doing it. Maybe I'd take it chill for maybe a couple of days, but I would itch to get back in it, so that's just how it is with us.
Aside of potentially wrecking your car or any other car on the road, what about the legal factor of it? Because for one, it is illegal. Is that anything that y'all consider when y'all do this, or what goes through y'all's mind about that?
We all know that speeding and reckless driving is illegal, but it doesn't really cross our mind very often. When we go out, we don't expect to encounter police or state troopers, and if we do, it's usually a flip of the light switch and put your foot down to the floor. So I don't really see police ever preventing me from cutting up, and especially out here in Texas, everyone drives aggressively, and we're just driving a step above the normal aggressiveness here. We have encounters here and there with police, but I don't think they would ever prevent me from going out and doing a run one night.
When we're driving, we're cutting up and we're 5 to 10 cars deep. We got the phone going on, merged calls together. We got the best radar detectors on the planet combined with Waze, and we're talking to each other, giving the hazard if there's a police up ahead, if there's not. And I can't tell you, the entire time, at least been doing this with these guys, we've never been caught up, we've never been stopped. I've ran a couple of times, but those times haven't even been with these guys. That's just been, just me as an individual. individual, you know. So I think communication is extremely important. And in general, Texas drivers are already fast. We got speed limits here at 80, 85 miles an hour. And so you got people, regular people cruising in the left lane, 90, 95 miles an hour. So because of that, it makes it a tad bit easier. And, you know, cops generally will acknowledge that.
To touch bases on what he was saying about that he has ran from cops before, have you ever encountered cops and had to run from them before?
I mean, definitely a few times. You know, in the upcoming SRT Win video, you'll see us getting low a few times. But you know, I think running is almost a part of the game, if that makes sense. Whenever we do these runs or run from police, it's pretty isolated. It's pretty deserted. There's not very many people on the road, and you know, when you turn off your lights and you start going 180, 190 miles an hour, there's not really a chance that Tahoe's going to keep up to you. We're competent enough to pull up flight radar if we do decide to take off, and if there's a helicopter above us, we know that it's best to just pull off, take the ticket, or take what's ever coming to us. But I think, you know, you need to use your brain, be mature, and understand that, you know, there are ways to get away from police, and, you know, you have to use your brain.
I mean, I've accepted tickets many times. I got like 5 speeding tickets in my entire life. You know, you just calculate, you know, if we're going on a cruise and we're on the interstate and it's nothing but straight lines, then yeah, you're going to run because it's a straight line, it's a straight shot, pull off somewhere, go into a neighborhood, run around in a maze, and you'll lose them. And that's how I did it both times. You know, so you just got to think, what's the most rational thing I can do here? If it's to take the ticket, then just man up and take the ticket, right? You know, what's the worst that could happen? You pay $300, $500. Maybe you know, go to jail for maybe not even a night. You go a couple of hours. I never had to do that. I know some people that have. I mean, they get out on bail the next day, you know, but it doesn't prevent them from continuing to do it, right? So it's just, what's the most rational decision in that specific moment? If it's open, and in Texas, it's wide open. So straight shot.
If you do decide to pull over and take the ticket, there's a way to handle police and troopers out here. If you think that, you know, you're going to get away with something by being disrespectful and a dickhead, you know, that's just not the way these cops operate around here. And once you pull over, your best bet is to be respectful. Yes, sir. No, sir. And accept the fact that you're probably going to jail or getting a ticket. But it's much better to be respectful and let them do their job and not create an issue.
I was going 120 down the tollway, and a cop caught me, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just pull over. I pulled over. I was very respectful with him. I was like, he obviously asked me like, why were you speeding? I was like, you know, officer, I just spatial awareness. I saw that the roads were open. You know, I hadn't driven fast in a while, and I just wanted to kick it for a little bit and, you know, kind of see what the car is about. That speed limit is 75 on that particular highway. He actually only cited me for doing 85, and so my ticket was only $200, but he caught me at 120. But again, like, just like you said, it's about talking your way to the cops, being respectful, and just having that open dialogue with them and not being a dickhead.
With y'all both having the knowledge of something like this being like dangerous, is this something that you recommend people try or do?
Recommend versus try. I definitely wouldn't recommend doing it, but trying doing it, you know, I can't prevent anyone from trying it, but you know, if you do decide to try swimming or squeezing or cutting up, you know, you need to make sure you have a few things in check. You know, you need to have the proper car, and having the proper car is not always what it takes. You know, I might have an M5, but you need to make sure that your tires are correct, your brakes are in order. You need to have the proper PSI. You need to make sure your suspension is correct, the weather is correct. If you have a rear-wheel drive car, there are certain factors that go into every run, and you need to be aware of that. If you're going to start cutting up, you need to be thinking of this as a sport or as an art. You know, people see it as just a joke, and I understand why people see it as a joke. When we're driving, we don't see it as a joke, and we're thinking about it a lot differently than most people think we are.
Especially all the young kids, right? You know, all the young teenagers and shit that are seeing all this stuff. To them, it just seems like, wow, that's so cool, all these fast cars. But at the end of the day, man, like, these are big machines with, you know, combustion happening inside under that hood. You know, these are not toys, right? You got to be very calculated. You got to learn your stuff. If that means you go into an open parking lot and you just learn how to do the most basic shit, because at the end of the day, the foundational skills is what's going to help you get there. I agree. I don't recommend it. You know, I'm not going to ever push for it or condone it. But, you know, if you're going to try it, obviously I can't stop you. But if you're going to try it, got to be smart about it. You got to understand the risk that you're putting yourself in and other people on the road. And just take all those factors into consideration.
Do you all run like any sort of like radars or anything like that in your car?
All of us, we run Uniden radars. I personally own the R8 Defender. The other piece of kit that we're running is laser jammers. They're tucked under my front and rear bumper. If a cop were to hit me with laser, there would be no reading.
Whoever's leading the entire swim, like, you want to make sure that the person that's leading has the best cutting edge tech, because even if you don't, they turn on their hazards, that means you know that there's a cop ahead and you just slow down. For the most part, most of our main core members have the best radars, like you said, Uniden R8s, R7s, and we got laser jammers as well. So again, it just all goes back to communication.
So right now I'm going to go over the Uniden R8 Defender. When you see it start up, you're going to see it go through X-band, K-band, KA-band, and laser. This specific radar detector is able to pick up radar and laser. So when you're hit with laser, which is an individual signal, if that makes sense, it picks up the specific type of laser gun and tells you what speed they tracked you at. So if we come out of the car here to the front bumper, directly under here, if you feel, you can actually feel 3 little tiny black boxes. Those are laser jammers. Laser jammers spit out a specific frequency that interrupts the cop's laser gun and completely makes it useless. They cannot get a single reading on you. It doesn't matter if you're going 300 or 50 miles an hour. They cannot get an accurate reading.
From my knowledge, are laser jammers illegal?
Laser jammers are 100% illegal. It's actually a felony to be caught with laser jammers.
So lastly, I do want to say a huge shout out to Night Swim. They are on a come up down here in the DFW area. They are definitely making a name for themselves. Again, I don't necessarily condone anything that they are doing, as long as they are being safe, making sure that they pay attention to other people on the road, because this is a dangerous situation to put themselves and others in, especially others that have no clue what they are doing. So if you're anyone out there that does partake in any type of activity that they're doing, make sure you are being safe, or just stop in general. It can cost yourself your life or someone else's life, which you will have to also live with. What they are doing isn't safe, isn't legal, but they're willing to get in front of the camera, talk about it. So again, huge shout out to Night Swim. Make sure y'all check them out on all their socials, which is obviously going to be linked in this video, also in the description.
Yeah, I just want to say we appreciate Kendrick for having us out here. Obviously, if you're going to try to keep up with us, be safe and follow us on our socials. It's Night Swim DFW. But again, I just want to say, Kendrick, thank you for having us, bro. We kept your man safe, and we'll catch y'all in the next video.
We got a lot of more collabs coming out in the future, so stay tuned for that. Night Swim DFW. Follow it on YouTube, follow it on Instagram, and it's only up from here, man.
We have SRT Lynn.
What up, buddy? I'm here.
I gotta come up here to Delaware. You gotta show me.
Come up there.
Yeah, you gotta show me how it is up there. I'm about to get in the car with license.
1,000% from just 5 years ago. Videos of
What's it feel like? You trust me?
You keep coming up to me, bro.
Bro, I'm just asking you
Keep
questions,
asking
bro.
me how I'm feeling, nigga. How are you feeling,
I'm trying to make sure you good, though.
I'm
You know what I'm
good.
saying? What I gotta do for a change? Me and Punch Bay gonna do it.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You know, there was a car right there. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to calm down. Okay, I got you. It's on me, big dog. I'm getting kicked out. Okay.
These niggas were behind us?
Okay. Yeah. He's kicking me out. Okay. What do you do at the end? And then you gotta raise the camera up. Go. Do it again. Do it again.
Ready?
I got 3 warrants, 5 different cars in 3 different states. I need a cab, Brody hit me back and dropped his ETA.